Cleveland Cavaliers head to Houston. They made it, despite the fact that the entire state of Texas is essentially shut down because of about 1.5 inches of snow.
It's insane.
But
all over the South.
The Cavs did make it.
Yeah. Baton Rouge got 10 inches.
They flew out right after the game on Monday. They landed. They're safe. They are going to play tonight against a team that has some of the makings of teams in the last 2 weeks and even earlier in the season that have given the Cavs fits, a la the Atlantas, the Indianas, the Oklahoma Cities, and even Boston to an extent, with the length, athleticism, and physicality on the wings. Dustin, I want to start with you on this one. When you get ready to watch tonight's Rockets-Cavs matchups, do you think this is a chance for the Cavs to prove they've kind of learned some things from their previous losses to teams that are built in a similar ilk to Houston?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great matchup. I think it's going to be fun to watch. It's a regular season game that I think matters more than most of these regular season games. The only issue I have is, like, last I saw is Mobley is out, right?
He's out, officially
out.
out.
And Okoro. So not having Mobley, I think, is a big deal because it's not going to be the same sort of matchup and that whole thing because he's arguably our best player. So that's going to be interesting to see how that whole thing plays out. Now, if the Cavs go out there and take care of business, and because I think the spread's like 2 points in this game, it's very close.
It's up to 3.
With the Cavs on the road. If they win without Mobley, I think it tells us a lot more. I do want to see them kind of continue to learn. I don't think they're in like a slump by any stretch, but they certainly have hit a patch where they're coming back to the mean to some degree. Anybody else?
I think that one of the questions, or maybe how it was phrased, maybe I misread it, like how excited are you about this mid-January
just more considering the kind of team Houston is and comparatively how we saw them perform against OKC and Indiana.
So I took it as like my excitement level. When at game time, how excited am I when I grab the remote and turn on the television? And I decided that I would go high end. The Celtics, the Thunder would be the 10. Those are the 2 games that I'm like, wow, this feels like a playoff game. Then there would be some 9s in there. I think Milwaukee for me is still a 9.
The Knicks
are a 9. For some reason, even though I think that their skill set is widely differing between the two, Golden State, just because they're Golden State, LeBron, the Lakers, those are probably 8s. I don't think I can even get past a 5 on the excitement meter for tonight's game, just because it is Houston, and we are playing without Mobley. And if we lose, I would say that doesn't shock me. Mm-hmm. I'll watch it. I'll watch it with some interest, but I'm not going to be, timing my bathroom breaks with timeouts.
Man, listen, this Houston, man. Like, no disrespect, man. Listen, this is not OKC, and I told you what I felt about OKC last week. If I was not, listen, I said I don't know about SGA last week. What you think I'm gonna say about the Rockets, bro? I know you got the Thompson, Amen or Asor. What is his name? Sure.
He's got a twin. It's one of the Thompson twins. You're close.
They wouldn't win if they had both of them. They need both the twins, bro. Like I'm not gonna get excited about listen. This is Dylan Brooks, Thompson, Eason. Like, come on, man. Come on, this is Minimowski. This is mid-sauce. The Cavs should come out here and win.
I just want to say, not to cut you off, G, NBA.com put out their weekly power rankings. OKC now number 1, the Cavs 2, Houston 3. So,
all right, let me straighten things out here because
Thanks,
G.
Paul.
Bush once again this week is out of pocket. When you
want
say
to call the camera to yourself?
You said no, I won't. Not necessary. The excitement of what I'm having to say will do it. When you say no disrespect, you are about to disrespect the team you're talking about. The Rockets, 3rd in the power rankings. Nobody gives a rat's ass about that. They have the 4th best record in the league. Let's face it. The Cavaliers, despite their great record, have proven zilch. Okay? Until you do something in the playoffs, you haven't proven anything. Now, this year, they've done all they can. They've proved as much as they can this season. But until you win in the playoffs, you haven't proven anything. The Rockets are, like the Cavs, a little behind in terms of how long they've been on this upswing. But the Rockets are one of the best young teams in the league. Now, I'm not a phony, so I'm going to tell you, I don't know anything about the Rockets.
Right.
Mike put up those names. I'll put up the names. I'm going to be honest if I've heard of them. Put up the names. I've heard of Dylan Brooks. I've heard of Tari Eason.
Jabari Smith.
I might be pronouncing his name wrong. I've heard of Jabari Smith Jr. I think I've heard of Cam Whitmore, but I might just be making that up. I have never heard of Amen Thompson or whatever the hell his name is. So I'm very interested in watching this team play because I haven't really seen them.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we don't focus
Right?
on the West.
No.
I'm
see
not.
them when they play us. That's it.
Dustin is an NBA junkie. He watches and G probably too, certainly more than me, watches all these games of other teams. I don't care. I don't want to watch these other teams. I'm not interested unless they're playing
until
the
the
Cavs.
playoffs.
Yeah, certainly
Then
in
I
the
watch
playoffs,
all
then
the
I'm locked
series.
in. But so I am curious to see them, and whether we disrespect another team or not is meaningless. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But the Cavs have no business disrespecting any team in the league until they've really accomplished something.
That's not true. Listen, the Cavs got bona fide players that's been veterans in this league for a long time. When you playing young and up-and-coming teams, that's nice. That's a good story, man. Y'all can have a nice little, you doing your thing.
Define bona fide players for me.
Donovan Mitchell. He's better than everybody they got. Bona fide.
Agreed. But what
all NBA type guys.
Okay, but he's the only one. You said they have guys. They have one.
Listen, Darius Garland, to me, should be the second best player in that game.
But 6 months ago, we were all killing the guy.
Well,
as if he was.
Well, he's erased that.
I hear you, but we can't call him bona fide.
What you mean?
He hasn't been consistently good.
He didn't have a whole year when he was All-Star? I'm looking for the All-Stars on the Rockets.
And you, like me, were killing him last year. So you were
I know,
that.
but Adam, don't you think that we have come to the realization that the jaw and the unable to eat took way more of a toll on his game than we thought?
But he's got to prove it for more than half a regular season.
I agree, but the most recent sample size for him has been terrific.
That's fine.
Hey, come on. You can't say, you got a 2-year rule. Now what is it, a 3-year rule? You got 2 years in a row, G. You got to do it more than 1 year.
It's not 2 years. He was bad last year.
How many years he been in the league?
A number.
A number of years.
You said bona fide. I'm not saying he's not a good player.
He is
to me, I could even argue Donovan Mitchell's not bona fide.
Settle it, Dustin. Is he a bona fide star?
He's a bona fide.
Donovan Mitchell. Darius Garland's not a bona fide star.
He's bona fide better than what the Rockets got.
Well, that wasn't the argument for me.
So my argument was,
why got nobody bona fide?
Thank you. So my argument is, I got Jared Allen, I got Donovan Mitchell, we got the best record, and we got Darius Garland, who's playing like an all-star. They're going to have 3-4 all-stars, and they got young teams.
And all I'm saying is there's not a single player on the Cavs, including Donovan Mitchell, who have really made their bones in the postseason. And that's a fact.
That ain't got
that I'll give you.
But that's not the argument.
Is Darius Garland a bona fide star, Mikey, number one? And number two, I want your thoughts on... I want to hear you talk more about the matchup problems that Houston's lineup presents. Because sometimes styles make fights. It's the same thing in basketball. Sometimes, you look at Atlanta, the sum of the parts, the Cavs should win 8 out of 10 against that team. But they beat us twice because they match up well against us. So, Mikey, is Garland a bona fide star? And talk more about the actual matchups that we'll see tonight.
Darius is playing like a bona fide star this season. Now, to Bull's thing, if you want to say you need sustained success over the course of 2 years, and last year all 5 of us had our questions on Darius, and I think Bull's probably right. But this season, there's no question he's playing.
I'm not debating
like
that.
A bona fide star.
100%.
As far as the matchup goes, a couple of things. We've talked about at length, no pun intended, how physicality and length, and especially in the backcourt, has kind of thrown the Cavs off their offensive rhythm lately.
Right.
There is not a more physical defensive team outside of Oklahoma City, who they are by far number 1. And then Houston's number 2, and then everyone else is 3, 4, 5. Yes, and Houston leads the NBA in techs. They're not the bad boys. Do not misconstrue this whatsoever, but they are the closest version to the NBA's bad boys.
Will it border dirty play, or is it just really aggressive?
Take border dirty. Dylan Brooks has a long history. You remember last year.
I know
every time him and Donovan Mitchell square up, it turns into some sort of. I can guarantee there'll be a technical foul tonight.
Wow.
Someone will get a technical foul tonight. Steve, you
I
want to
just
take
went up
this
to a
full here?
6 then.
Donovan,
on my interest meter.
No, it should be good. A couple of weeks ago, Thompson body slammed Tyler Hero to the ground.
Yeah.
He got suspended for 2 games.
Yep.
Tari Eason is an absolute menace on defense. He's got 6'8", but his wingspan's like 7'1", 7'2", hounds people. Jabari Smith is their Dean Wade equivalent, 6'10", could shoot long, not a star, but a really good kind of role guy who fits in. Jalen Green, who was taken the 1 pick ahead of Evan Mobley. Steve, if you want to take the Jalen Green stats, is 3.57, is an athletic scoring guard. He leads the team in scoring. Houston has 8 guys averaging 10 points per game.
Is that really
this
his
year.
picture?
That really is his picture.
Okay.
He also jumps through the freaking
It's like a glamour
roof.
shot.
But the main thing to watch tonight without Mobley is this next guy. Before you take the stats, Steve, Dustin, you're going to know the answer to this. Are you guys familiar with Alperen Sengun and his game?
Yes, I was going to
No.
say.
I've
heard of him.
No, I've heard of him, but
I don't know his game.
Yeah,
No.
I don't either.
He's a unicorn.
He
Another
is
one of those dudes.
incredible. And you can take the numbers. He's going to be an all-star for the first time this year. Him and Mobley. Not next guy, Steve. Next guy. Come on, follow along, buddy.
Let's go,
Alperen
Steve.
Sengun
Get
here,
your-
not Jalen
get
Green.
your
Yeah,
acting
let's go up.
geeky.
I was going to chime in. I feel like this guy's more of a star than freaking Garland.
Damn, 19, 10,
wow.
and 5?
Yeah, and he shoots threes. He's a pretty good defender. He is the fulcrum of their offense.
Yes.
He
He's
plays
young.
like Jokic.
He's only been in the league a couple years, right?
He was the same draft as Mobley. Correct.
Yeah.
So
Mike-
are you? So take the. What? How are you going to bet this?
Without Mobley, I wouldn't bet either way. I'd stay away from this game.
You would. Okay.
I think it's a weird matchup. With Mobley,
If
I
you
like
had to
their
put
chance.
money on it, it sounds to me like you think that it's going to be the Rockets.
I think it's a close game if you're getting points one way.
Okay.
Mike, if you were everybody on the Cavs and Rockets are healthy.
Cavs.
No, that's not my question. Wait for the question. And you were ranking the players on both teams combined based on best player to worst player, what would your top 5 be?
Yeah, kind of like the draft we used to do with the Browns and whoever they were playing
Yeah,
that
but
week.
not
Donovan-
necessarily how just they're playing at this minute. I'm just
Overall,
best player
in
worst.
general?
Analyze
Yeah.
that however you want.
Who's your first pick? It's Donovan.
It's
Mitchell.
Donovan.
Who's your second pick?
Evan. And then Sengun Darius is depending on price. Sengun's a stud.
So you take Sengun.
He's their
you're
best
taking
player.
him over Garland.
It depends on what it goes like team building. What are you
looking for?
Forget team building. I'm asking you to rank
Well,
the players.
I'm trying to weigh it in my head. I'm talking out loud here. I'm going
Yeah.
through my thought process. You want
Yeah.
an elite ball handling point guard or a playmaking 5 who's he's way better than he gets credit for. And you're gonna watch him. If you haven't seen him play tonight,
Yeah, you're gonna be like, who's this
You're
guy?
gonna be this dude could play. Trust
Okay.
me on this.
He wears
one.
like number 28.
And what about okay?
That's weird.
It is weird.
Yeah, he does
So
wear
all I'm
28.
saying is like, if you're a Rockets fan, I bet you the Rockets fans are like, oh, we're as good as Cleveland.
Oh, they 100.
Well-
I think if real quick to answer both questions, then I'll let you guys go again.
Yeah.
I think 4 of the top 5 would be Cavs, but stylistically, the Rockets play a style of defense that I think could give the Cavs
Wait,
offense
all
right.
fits, especially without Mobley.
What's his name? The kid who was drafted before Mobley.
Jalen Green? I wouldn't put him over.
He's not ahead of Darius or Jarrett.
No, I wouldn't
Okay.
take him over the other 2. But then I think
All right.
I think 6, 7, 8 could be Rocket guys.
So y'all satisfied? You don't got to take my word for it. Reading Rainbow.
So you're taking Cavs all the way to
Man, I'm not worried about no Rockets. If you're a contender, if you say in the NBA we want to be named in the echelon with the Celtics and the Thunder and the teams that's going to compete for championships, there was no way you could be sitting here with a young Rockets team talk about we spooked.
What's the
You're not.
Rockets' record? I know it's right. It's not far
I'm not
behind
spooked.
Oklahoma
The
City,
fourth
is it?
best record in the
28
league.
and 14.
Okay, 28 and 14. And where is that third or
Fourth.
No, that's fourth.
Fourth.
It's the 4th best record in basketball. They are currently 2nd in the Western Conference behind
How many
OKC.
games is it? 14?
28 and 14. 667 winning percent. That's impressive, though.
Hey, man, that's
I mean,
enough.
we're comparing it against what the Cavs are doing, and there's no comparison.
They got 3.
in any other year, 28 and 14 might be 2.
They got 4 more.
No, they're
they got
good.
4
Like
more
they're
years.
the Cavs are awesome. The Rockets are good too. It's a matchup of,
decent.
like I said, NBA.com's number 2 versus number 3 team. It's a good matchup. tonight.
The interesting thing is that 3 of the 4 best records in the league, the Cavs, the Thunder, and the Rockets, are for teams that have accomplished nothing in the playoffs yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Which is fascinating.
Well, what it speaks to is that you can change guard quicker now in the NBA than you used to be able
Well,
to.
I guess, but we'll find out
No,
for sure when the
you're
playoffs
right.
come.
Yeah, you can in the regular season for
Yes.
sure. But, I always say everybody's kind of downplaying Boston. And I just keep saying, like
That's
the Steelers. I
crazy.
say the same thing about the Steelers. You know what? Bury them at your own peril.
Yeah.
Because the Celtics know where the switch is. They know how to turn it on. They won't
Well,
wait until the playoffs to do it either.
I don't think the Celtics and Steelers are the same. The Steelers are the same in terms of making the playoffs, but the Steelers are not a legit.
recently, but
a Super Bowl
I'm just
contender.
talking about
Yeah.
at least you're right. The Celtics
Yeah.
do have postseason pedigree.
Yeah.
And not the Steelers don't.
Yeah.
Recently, the Steelers do not. But like a lot of teams are looking at the Celtics and the Cavs and where they rank, just looking at the records and saying, "Oh yeah, the Celtics aren't really a threat anymore. Be careful."
Dustin, know this, man.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about teams. I know people want to get to the postseason, but you build your habits and you win games in the regular season to prepare you for the postseason. All this stuff counts. Like this game right here, they're going to build confidence because now we're going to see, does Donovan Mitchell, does Darius Garland understand what type of game plan they need to play if Evan Mobley isn't here? They need to understand, okay, well, who do I need to get involved early in this game? The regular season is part of the process. You can't skip the process.
Right.
The process makes you who you are in the postseason.
Sure. I mean, it's a long, tedious season. We know that. And you're a football guy like myself, and I recall back to like training camp when they install certain things that you don't even use until all of a sudden you're in a playoff game or you're in November and you're in a tight ball game. You're like, hey, remember when we put in Rock Husker in camp? Okay, we're going to go ahead and switch to that right now because this dude's killing us, whatever. So like those are the things you recall, and this is basically a free opportunity to test out these things, to see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, it should be fun. And styles make fights. The Cavs are more talented than Indiana, but Indiana got the better of them. I mean, the Cavs lost to Atlanta twice. More talented than Atlanta. It happens in the NBA.
Oh, but listen, if they look, see, you have to come back in here on Thursday and be like, "That's a good one." Now I want you to downplay it. You said that the Rockets was juggernauts.
Listen, I'm more concerned that you're going to have to downplay it.
Don't downplay it.
I think you're missing a little of what I'm saying. I have been, listen, you know how I felt about the regular season before this year. I didn't give a rat's ass. I'm totally into the Cavs. I love watching them play. I love what they're doing. I think they're a legit championship contender. All I'm saying is they still got a lot to prove.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. I believe in this team a lot. Yeah. As much as you possibly can based on what they've done. I think they're better than Houston, but I don't know Houston well enough to have a very educated opinion on that. I'm just basing that on the record and because I trust Mike more than anybody else in basketball.
They are better than Houston.
You know, and my new spiel is I disrespect medium teams.
That's true.
That's my thing.
I
disrespect medium teams.
Well, that's okay, but I just don't put them in the medium category.
That's the disrespect. I call them medium.
True. I mean, G said SGA should be bagging groceries, and then he put 40 on
They are mild sauce. And I don't understand why
SGA is a grocery store. A discount grocery store.
Hey, listen, they did a corporate merger and they bought all the Giant Eagles.
They're going to go fold into Marks.
I'm glad you're not on the Cavaliers, man.
Yeah.
I don't need this bulletin board material.
Yeah, right.
No bulletin board.
I will say, if you haven't watched the Rockets, they are fun to watch, and Sengun versus Jared Allen tonight should be a really fun subplot.
Good.
So keep an eye. We're
going
going to talk a little more Cavs here in a bit, but